Welcome back to the Kiwi Wedding Podcast. My name is Lydia. I'm an Auckland wedding photographer and your host. Today I'm chatting with the lovely Aamina from Layaz Jewellery, a brand creating bespoke, timeless pieces with a strong focus on story and legacy. We chat through Aamina's story from teaching English to stepping into her partner's family tradition of jewelers and building a business that's already making waves in New Zealand and overseas. We chat about what to think about when choosing your engagement or wedding rings, why more couples are embracing coloured gemstones and custom detailing, the real difference between natural and lab-grown diamonds. This might seem like a hot take, but it is a great chat, and how jewellery can be both personal and an investment. This was a really lovely chat and full of practical advice as well. So let's get into it. Enjoy episode 115 with Aamina. Hi Aamina, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. Excited to pick your brains about all things jewellery.
Love it. Thank you so much for having me, Lydia.
We're gonna chat more about the business side of things and what you do today, but I wanted to ask first, are you married? Can you tell us a little bit about your wedding, maybe any kind of highlights you can remember, and what you learnt from being a bride?
Absolutely. So I actually got married to the love of my life. We were together for about 8 years and we got engaged and got married in 2022 June. So we hit 3 years. So I love being a bride. It was such a beautiful yet stressful experience because I was a COVID bride, a little post-COVID, but at the time, because I was in Sri Lanka when I got married, and post-COVID, there was this whole, the economy was down. There were a lot of things that were difficult to get to, like the accessibility was not so great and whatnot. So yeah, it was an amazing time because I was able to spend so much time with my family and friends, but definitely stressful. Simply because of the COVID part. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, such a tough period of time, especially for brides. We're going to talk about Layaz. Correct me if I keep saying that wrong.
Layaz Jewellery.
Your amazing business. Can you start by telling us a bit about your background, how you got started, and kind of your journey that's led you to where you are today?
Okay, so I never thought I'd end up in jewelry. Like it just happened because I grew up thinking all my life I was going to become this badass lawyer, I was just so obsessed with law and all of that, and growing up I really thought that's what I was going to do in life. And then I did try it and realized, oh, this is not for me. It's just too boring. I can't sit here and listen to all these lectures. It's just not what I thought it was, like in the movies and in the shows. So I then switched to psychology, thought I would, become a therapist, help people, and realized I'm the one who needed help. And then afterwards, I decided teaching was the next best thing. I got into teaching, loved it, enjoyed all of it. I did it for about 7 years. I was an English language and literature teacher, and I loved teaching high schoolers. It was fun, but realized this is not something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And luckily, my partner, he comes from a family of jewelers. They've been doing this for 3 generations, and in 2023, I took this trip to the States, where I was able to spend so much time with his family, and I had this conversation with my father-in-law, who was taking me through the family history and the background and what the culture behind it. And that's what really fascinated me. And I was telling my partner, this is what I want to do. I want to sell jewelry. I want to learn the skill. I want to, I want to share the culture with people here in New Zealand, because I've seen the jewelry here and I don't really see colored gemstones or a lot on natural diamonds being explored as much. So yeah, that's how it started.
I love that. Bit of a family legacy there, and such a cool story behind the brand.
Thank you.
Can you tell us what a typical day looks like for you? It sounds very glamorous owning a jewelry brand.
Well,
to me.
I wish it was, all diamonds and sparkles, but it's not.
But what is the reality? A bit of the behind the scenes.
So obviously I've got consultations. I can meet with clients all the time. Then there's a lot of emails to send, meetings with the team, sketching just takes up so much of my time as well. Because, sometimes you just need those creative juices running, and on certain days you just feel so drained and there's just nothing going on in your brain. So that's usually what a day looks like. Besides the sparkle, I mean, I do, play around with my gems, but not all the time.
Yeah, I love that. It's the realities of business. Hey, it's so
Yeah.
good. Layaz has such a distinct style. How would you describe the kind of signature look and, yeah, the sort of story behind your pieces?
Now that one's a bit of a toughie because we do a lot of bespoke.
Mm,
So all our pieces are all about our clients. But if I were to give it one tag or one label, I would call it timeless luxury.
mm,
That's what I like. That's what I want my pieces to scream. Timeless luxury, something that could be passed down, an heirloom piece. Yeah, that's. I just don't want it to look like everyone's Pinterest board. I wanted to have so much personality. I wanted to have a soul, and that's what I. That's why I always ask my clients, "What's your story? What are your what are your favorite colors? What are the things that you like to do? What are your hobbies?" And I try and instill some of those details in our designs, just because it should speak to you. It's a very personal investment.
yeah, beautiful. Love that. As an entrepreneur in the creative industry, what's been one of your proudest moments so far?
We launched Layaz in 2024 May, right in the middle of recession, and people were like, "Are you okay?" So I'd say not just launching and surviving, but also thriving
Mm,
in such a difficult year is actually one of my proudest moments. We were able to launch our first expo within the 3 months of starting. We hosted a soiree in October. We've had a few international orders. And now we've got some exciting things coming ahead as well, which I don't want to name just yet. But yeah, definitely these would be my proudest moments.
incredible. A lot to be proud of. And I can't believe it's only really been like a year that
Yeah,
you've been
yeah, I,
doing it.
I can't believe it myself. It just feels so surreal.
I'd love to hear a bit more about that kind of process. What does it look like when you're designing a new piece? And maybe you can chat through that sort of process of working with a bespoke client as well. Yeah, do you start with the sketches? You find out a bit of their story? Yeah.
Always a story. The first thing is, whether it's a love story, a memory, a milestone, because there's always a reason why clients seek out for bespoke pieces, and it's always so special. And that's where I begin. Then we move on to mood boards and colors and sketches, and sourcing the perfect gemstones. And sometimes the stone finds you before the sketch does, because I've had clients who are like, "I just want a gorgeous ruby. I want, a sapphire. Like, I want this particular color." And that's where we start. So it really is it's very much tailored to what the client really wants, but most of the time the story.
Yeah, love that. So you kind of meet with them, figure that out, and then do you go away, kind of give them a few different options or start sort of the design process?
Absolutely. So sometimes I've got clients who don't really know what they want. So in that case, we take them through this whole journey of, asking them a few questions and, trying to narrow it down to a few options, and then we work on those. So, and certain times you've got clients who know exactly what they want, from the cut to the carrot. They've got everything figured out. And then it's quite, the process is quite simple. We just, we give them the quote, and then I actually tell them, "Okay, now that you have all this, remember, you're making, this is an investment. This is not just, something it's not just pretty jewelry you're buying. You're hoping to, this is going to be a valuable asset to you. It's an investment." So I always encourage them to go compare prices, make sure they're making a very sound decision when they're buying. So yeah, so it really depends on what kind of client I'm getting, but generally we go design, sketch, meeting, discussions, and then purchase. Yeah.
I love that it's quite a personal process. Like, yeah, you're working very closely with them and it's not just like you're
That's what I love
pumping
most
out
about
all
this.
this jewelry. Are there any kind of particular materials, gemstones or metals that you love working with? Any
Oh my God, this
favorites?
is, I'm actually such a sucker for colored gemstones.
Yeah, I
I
love
just
that.
love color so much. So anything with a sapphire, I'm in love. Because I just find that colored gemstones have so much more personality. I also love working with gold most of the time. It's quite fun because it's such a soft metal as well. It's quite interesting the things you can do with it. So definitely colored gemstones. And if I were to pick one, I'd say sapphires. Yeah, because it is my birthstone. So
Gorgeous. I just imagine your life surrounded by all these beautiful gems and gold, and yeah, sounds so gorgeous. I love that. To chat on weddings a bit more, I imagine you get some engagement ring clients and stuff like that.
Funny, I have a consultation for an engagement ring right after this podcast today.
Exciting. It must be so cool to kind of hear about the planning that goes into those
Yeah.
proposals and everything as well. For couples that are starting to think about that, and maybe the bride has an input as well, maybe it's just the groom, but thinking about where to start with that engagement jewelry, where do you recommend they begin?
Start with your story.
Love
I mean,
that.
Pinterest is fun. It gives you lots of ideas, but focus on what feels right for you as a couple. Think about what styles you love, your lifestyle, because lifestyle does matter as well. I have a client who's a pastry chef. I have a client who's a doctor. It's a job where it's quite handsy. What kind of ring do you really want to wear every day? Like all that matters. What kind of legacy do you want this piece to hold? I'm sure this is something you want to keep forever, and think about the investment you're making as well, because of course no one goes into it thinking, oh, I'm going to sell this one day. Obviously not, but it is definitely something you might want to pass down to your children,
Yeah.
or to keep it in the family. So definitely don't be afraid to ask questions as well, because your jeweler should listen, not just sell to you.
Yeah, so good. I think it's so special if you can kind of have that bespoke process with someone as well. You're not just, picking up
Yeah.
any old ring from the jeweler in the mall.
Because the thing is, lately at least, there's a lot of misconception. There's a lot of myths around jewelry, lots of trends out there. So it's very easy to be misled. So the best thing to do is definitely speak to, a trusted jeweler, do some research, check what stones you're getting in your ring. Uh, those things are very important when you're making a decision like this.
Thinking about that longevity, and a lot of times that those special pieces of jewelry do get passed down through the generations. So
Yeah.
I think thinking a bit more long term is definitely wise. That
Yeah.
was going to be my next question about the kind of trends in wedding jewelry, which we always see different things popping up. Are there any that you are loving right now, or things that you're hoping to see more of?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually love the shift towards more individuality now. Like you've got more asymmetric settings, there are more hidden details. I also love the fact that colored gemstones have made a bigger comeback in engagement rings, because there was a season when everyone was getting a diamond.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like that has changed. Now you've got people getting, royal blue sapphires and rich emeralds, and I think that's amazing. I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but last year in 2024, the oval cut was a very popular trend because Hailey Bieber got an oval engagement ring,
Right.
and a lot of people did predict the marquee to become a popular cut this year because of Selena. So these trends, they do change a lot as well. So I personally am a fan of old mine cuts. They were very popular like in the 18th, 19th century, and I just think they're very romantic. So I would love to see them make a comeback someday. A girl can dream.
Yeah, love that. It's so interesting to think about where they come from, and definitely very celebrity influenced, or from
Yeah.
like the royals. And yeah, you would have kind of seen those patterns through the years and what pops up. But yeah, I love the colored gemstones as well. It's sometimes just like a bit more personality, and yeah, just thinking about your story
But I
again.
honestly think when someone's, thinking about a certain cut, they also need to check if it actually suits their fingers. Because trust me, it doesn't look the same on everyone's fingers. Like for example, I could never pull off a marquee cut.
Mm.
So it's just, we all have such different styles, different ways of expressing ourselves. It's best to always try them on. That's something I always tell my clients. Don't just go for something because it's trending. A trend will die down. You know, you need to go for something that outlives those trends. So try it on, check if it fits you, check if it's something you like to look at all the time. And yeah, that's something that's very important to do as well.
Such great advice. I think people don't always think about that with jewelry. You know, you would go to a store and try clothes on before buying them,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
but yeah, for such an investment piece that you are probably going to wear every single day for the rest of your life,
Exactly.
you do want to try that out, see how it looks. So yeah, I love that.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you as well, which I didn't prep you for this question, but I think there's been a lot of chat flying around about lab grown diamonds and yeah, that whole side of things. Yeah, I wonder if you have any thoughts about that, pros, cons, yeah, anything you want to say?
We have time.
Yeah.
I can actually go on about this all day because a lot of people have actually asked me about lab grown diamonds and how does it work. So just to put it simply, you've got natural diamonds. They're formed deep in the earth over billions of years. And then you've got lab grown diamonds, which are made in factories, mostly in India and China. They take roughly a few weeks to make. They are made using the same components. So that's the whole argument where they say, oh, they're the same. It contains the same minerals, but they're not, because one is Mother Nature and the other is just a production line. One thing I like to say is think of it like fast fashion for jewelry. It's cute, but it's not luxury. That's the difference. So if you're looking at something that you want to pass down, an investment piece, I would not suggest you buy a lab grown diamond. But if you like it because it's sparkly, no problem. There's nothing wrong with buying a lab grown diamond. But something I do tell people is don't spend, thousands of dollars buying a lab grown diamond because it doesn't take that much to make one. So and you can't, and it doesn't have a resale value. That's the whole, argument behind it. I'm not going to discourage anyone from buying what they want to buy. If you like lab grown diamonds, sure, go for it. We don't personally deal with anything lab grown. I'm very, strict about that. I only want to do natural gemstones because I'm truly passionate about it. But if lab grown is your thing, no problem, go for it. There are lots of places in New Zealand that that use lab grown gemstones as well. But just don't spend insane amounts of money on it. It's just not worth the investment because it's not an investment. I hope that answers the question.
So there is a bit of a difference in quality and the longevity of those
Definitely.
products. Yeah.
The whole point with jewelry, with fine jewelry, is the fact that it is an investment. It's a very personal and emotional investment you're making. That's why there's this whole concept of heirloom pieces. You build a legacy with it, you pass it down. And the beauty of it is you can always repurpose your heirloom pieces. That is something we do as well. We've had so many amazing clients who bring in their jewelry from their grandmothers, great grandparents, amazing stories, and we're able to make it into something that they actually like to wear. And that's the beauty of it. And with a lab grown gemstone, I don't think that's something you can actually do because yeah, it's literally fashion jewelry, fast fashion in jewelry if you think about it.
Yeah, so interesting to hear that perspective. I think like you say, there is a lot of noise going around about it at the moment, and like understandably people have tighter budgets and things, but yeah, thinking of that sort of long-term view and as an investment, I think that's such great advice.
Because if budget is the problem, you don't necessarily need a diamond. There are so many other natural gemstones that would still make the cut. They're amazing gemstones that would fit any budget. For example, you've got topaz, which is actually gaining a lot of popularity right now. Tourmalines. You've got aquamarines. You've got so many other gemstones that would still meet these budget requirements. And the best part is they're again natural gemstones. So yeah, if you're not, so that is another option that people can opt for. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, why do I want this ring? Like if you want a big sparkly rock, and you want it to look like a diamond, sure. But you also have alternatives like cubic zirconia that would still meet the purpose. So just don't pay insane amounts of money because although they call it a diamond, it's not a diamond.
Not quite. Yeah.
Diamond by definition for sure, but they don't
Right.
hold the same value or sentiment. That's a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my next kind of question about budget. Obviously, it varies for everyone depending what they want. Is there any kind of like figure or idea you can give people to kind of anticipate what they should be spending on their engagement ring or their wedding bands, and yeah, any sort of average?
So there's definitely no one size fits all. We worked with a wide range of budgets. It could go from $5,000 to $50,000. It really depends on what the client wants. That's one of the first questions I ask the client, like, what is the budget range? You tell me what your budget is, and I'll give you the best stones possible, the best quality possible for what you're looking at. If I were to give a ballpark, a bespoke engagement ring with a natural gemstone. When I say natural gemstone, I'm referring to like the precious stones, like a sapphire, a diamond, a ruby, an emerald. Roughly would start around $5,000. We're looking at 18 karat for metal and all of that. So that would be like a ballpark price. But again, that's a very general number.
Can be anywhere. Yeah.
It is, there are so many ways you can make it work. Like, I have clients who've got engagement rings at about $3,000, and I've got clients who've got it for $50,000. So it really depends, because it all comes down to the quality and the rarity of the stone. The rarer the stone is, the higher the prices. That's just how it works.
Makes sense. And yeah, I heard you say as well that you tell your clients to go and compare prices with other places, which
Yeah.
I feel like is a bold move, but you obviously back yourself there. So yeah, why do you do that?
That's a good question, because I've actually had clients be like, "Are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, what if I don't come back?" I'm like, "You'll come back. I know you will." So why we do that is because, see, I've been very lucky because, like I said, I come from a family of jewelers who've been doing it for generations. Hence, we don't have any middlemen involved. And that really gives us an advantage in terms of sourcing the best stones with the best prices. And yeah, it's more like,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I encourage clients to compare prices, because I want to make sure my clients get the best deal. And it also gives them a very good idea of how pricing works, and like how much a stone is worth, etc. So yeah, that's definitely why I asked my clients, okay, I've given you your quote. Now do some research. Don't just instantly decide. Go out there, compare prices, take your time and come back to me. And they always come back.
Love that. What are some personal touches that couples have added to their rings or their jewelry to make it extra special? I love that you start with that story. Can you, tell us a few sort of examples?
Well, where do I start? I love this question because I am such a sucker for details and sentiments. As such a soppy person, so
In the right
it's really
industry.
like there's so many stories, but they've got initials engraved, sometimes a birthstone tucked inside the band. I had this one client who wanted lyrics from their first dance for their 10th anniversary. They got new wedding bands, and they had lyrics from their first dance engraved in it, and that was just really cute. I was like, oh, this is so amazing. And we don't really charge anything for engravings. We do all of that completely for free. So I always ask my clients, get an engraving, write something on it. Like, it's an amazing memory to carry. And yeah, like it's mostly birthstones and engravings those are the most special details we've added so far. Oh, I've also had this one couple who used heirloom gold to melt into their new rings. So the bride got it from her grandmother, and the groom got it from his grandmother. So they melted their jewelry to make these new wedding rings for them. So that was amazing.
So special, yeah, when it has a bit of a story behind it. And then like engraving or something, making it just uniquely
Exactly,
theirs.
so
It's not just
personal.
any other ring. Yeah. Do you have any advice on caring for your wedding ring and any of your jewelry really, so it stays beautiful for years to come?
Say I don't do this personally, although I should. I
Yeah.
should make time and do it for myself because I'm like I'm caring for everyone else's, but I'm not doing my own. But
That's it.
treat it like you would your marriage. Regular care and check-ins matter, you know. Get it cleaned every 6 to 12 months. Take it off when you're lifting weights or doing the dishes, you know. Just also insurance. That's very important. I know it's not romantic, but it's very wise to have insurance on it. I freak out when I find out that someone's not insured their engagement rings. I'm like, what are you doing? There's a lot of money there.
Add that into your wedding budget.
Yeah, and something you can definitely do to get it cleaned is just put it in some hot water with some detergent and let it soak in there for like 20 minutes. Just to clean it once in a while. It's pretty good because we do collect in a lot of dirt often when we're out. So definitely do that. Oh, and also one other thing which I am also guilty of doing is I do end up touching my gems, my diamond quite a lot. So maybe avoid that. There's no need to constantly keep touching the stone. I find myself doing it sometimes as well. But yeah, that is something because again, then you need to keep polishing it. So that's mainly why I would say avoid that as much as you can.
I've heard some horror stories about diamonds falling out of rings,
My
or even
goodness. Yeah.
happened to my sisters, I think, which was, from one of those like chain jewelry stores. So there you go. And it was luckily caught in her dress and she found it. But yeah,
Thank God.
even I shot a wedding, maybe it was the season before last, and it was the groom actually, but at the sunset shoot, we were on this beautiful long grass hill in the sunset, and then his ring was obviously too loose for him and he dropped it and didn't realize for a while, and we were
Please tell
just
me he found it.
hunting everywhere. It was like panicking. We had to go back to the reception, and yeah, they didn't find it that night, but they actually reached out on, I think it was like the local Facebook community page, and found a man with a metal detector who came out and luckily
I
found it
just
for
love
him.
the
I was
community here.
messaging them the next day, like, please tell me you found it. But yeah, so I don't know, maybe that's some advice on get the right size
Yeah,
ring for you. So
the right size is
important.
important. Yes. And about the diamonds falling off, that means it's not a very secure setting. I know some settings are very pretty, but they're not practical for the type of diamond you're going for. So that is something we advise the clients on as well. Make sure it's a very secure setting. As long as the setting is very secure, your diamond is fine. Because I know three claws look very gorgeous, but for certain cuts, they're not very practical. So, yeah.
Such great advice. And I think, if you're not working in that industry, you don't necessarily know all these tips. So that's why it's so
Yeah,
important.
that's why I said, like, ask your jewelers all these questions. Will my diamond fall? It's not a crazy question to ask. You have to ask these questions. It's very important. And yeah, definitely get insurance. My God.
Yes, yes. There's a few examples why. So good.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of favorite piece that you've ever created? It's probably like picking a favorite child, but yeah, anyone that sort of stood out that's been, close to your heart.
Okay, this is a very hard question because I personally pour so much love into all of the pieces I create. Like they're my babies. Like I want to make sure they're perfect. But one that I'll actually never forget was this custom engagement ring. It was for a bride who had lost her mom just a few months before getting
Mm.
engaged. So her fiance came to me wanting to include something of her mom's, not just in the memory, but as part of the ring itself. So we ended up sourcing this gorgeous blue sapphire, which is her mom's birthstone. She was a September baby, and designing the entire ring around it. And we also engraved her mom's signature inside the band.
Wow.
That's one of my favorite pieces I've created. And I remember the bride being like, it feels like she's here. And yeah, that was an amazing story. And I'll always keep it close to my heart because the joy you give people, like that, I don't think there's anything that beats the joy you give people when you create something that they were looking for, that something so perfect. That's what it's all about. That's what Layaz is all about. It's not just pretty jewelry. It's about stories. It's about legacy. All these special moments. You can't place a price on that.
Oh, so beautiful. You must have lots of really meaningful stories like that. And yeah, such a cool moment in like season in someone's life to be a part of. And yeah, get to like witness all of that playing out as well. So yeah, really special. What is next for Layaz? Any exciting projects, things that you want to talk about? Maybe you have a few secret projects, but yeah, anything new on the horizon?
Definitely lots coming. I'm actually very excited and also super nervous for where all of this is heading. But we are in the process of launching a sub brand called Dare to Dazzle by Layaz. And this is going to be all about affordable jewelry. We want to give you premium silver and gold plated pieces with semi precious stones, just because jewelry doesn't necessarily always have to be luxury. You can also have other pieces that are, still long lasting. We're also actually expanding Layaz to the US. We're hoping to launch there in June this year. So I'm really nervous and excited about it. And we're also doing a couple of jewelry shows in Canada. So those are some exciting projects coming up.
So cool. Oh my gosh, hitting the global stage. You're killing it.
I can't believe it's happening, but I guess it is. So we'll have to wait and see.
Love that. So exciting. Yeah, lots of cool things to come. And yeah, I can't wait to watch that play out. And yeah, I feel like anything you put your hand to turns to gold, to use the
Nice.
jewelry pun.
Yeah, it is very scary, but also amazing how all of these opportunities have just come by. And I can't wait to see what's next for Layaz, really.
Beautiful. Love that. I think people are going to get a lot out of this episode. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This is actually so fun.
So good. Anything else you want to add as we wrap up, or a little gem of advice for brides to be?
For brides to be, don't, like I said before, just ask questions, do lots of research. Do not get advice from TikTok. Girls, I'm telling you. Because I use TikTok quite a lot as well. And yeah, some of these things that they say, they're quite crazy if you think about it. The whole, like, the bigger the diamond, the bigger the love is. And yeah, it's just crazy out there.
Mm.
Just, yeah, don't do that. Don't get advice on TikTok, but, do some actual research. And it's always more meaningful, beautiful when you cater it to your love story, to what's special to you, rather than follow a trend set by a celebrity, because those trends will always change. So definitely, do research, ask your questions. If you feel free to send me a DM anytime, I'm more than happy to answer if anyone has any questions about jewelry, about engagement rings or stones. And I love chatting, about these things. So yeah.
Beautiful. Such wise advice. And yeah, we'll definitely share links to all your social media and website and everything. So definitely reach out to Aamina, and she's, yeah, just lovely and always down for a chat. So good. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. This is lovely. I loved it. Thank you.